Hello everyone. In this video today, I'm going to be doing some much needed maintenance on the RX7. So currently it's leaking a lot. It's leaking some coolant, leaking a ton of oil, also leaking some gear oil from the transmission. So really need to address that. Then on top of that, I also got a replacement thermostat right here that I'm going to install as well. But I really need to fix all these issues as it's starting to leak a lot, and like honestly it's leaking a lot onto the street, and it's just not good. So I really need to do the maintenance. I'll start off by showing y'all the coolant leak. You can kind of see there's a little bit of a puddle down there. I don't know if you can really see it, but I think it's leaking from this upper radiator hose and just dripping down. So hopefully that's that. I don't have that replacement part right now, or really any of the replacement parts besides the thermostat. So I think I need to jack this up, remove the undercover, the tray, which I just installed. And then on top of all that, off camera, I did install the headlight trim. This, I'll provide some before and after pictures. But this came with the car, and there was a lot of overspray. There's still some, so I tried to clean it up. I will eventually paint this, but this I had to buy off eBay. I ended up buying just a whole headlight bucket because it was cheaper. This is like $60. So I ended up buying a whole bucket for it, and I'm super happy about it because before it looked kind of gross, honestly, without the trim, the headlights up. There's also a bunch of overspray on the headlight itself, which I took a clay bar to and cleaned it up as best as I could on both sides. And then I also visited a parts car, rx7, and I got some much needed parts. I got the windshield wipers. My car is missing the arms, so I have some of that now. Also got the windshield cowl trim right here. I plan to paint this, as well as probably this too, but I won't install this in this video. And I also got the missing side moldings, the missing pieces. So I got that, and then also the ones for the door. So super excited for that. That should complete more of the RX7. But I'm going to go ahead and lift this up and start draining the coolant. Alright, so this is a better look at the leak. One of the oil leaks. I think there's another in the back. Probably. But right here, you can see leak right there. That's coming from the oil cooler line, I believe. I have some washers to replace that. So just gonna continue removing this, and hopefully replacing that washer is easy. Hopefully that fixes that. So that might actually correspond to why I have low oil pressure on the gauge, or there might just be a bad connection on the oil pressure gauge or the oil pressure sensor. Probably that, but this might help as well because it's a high oil pressure area. Yeah, so the under tray is now off, and you can definitely see the oil leak. 1000% coming from that oil cooler line, and it's pretty gnarly leak. But I do have some, some crush washers for this, so hopefully that'll fix that. And I also have a coolant leak too, which I already said it's coming from this hose. It's coming from both sides. I don't know if it was overfilled or something, no idea, but I got replacement hose, so I'll replace that too. But focusing on the oil first. So I do not have the washer for this right here. So I'm gonna pivot a little bit and put my attention on the thermostat now in this hose. Okay, so I removed this water pump housing, thermostat housing, and I've never replaced a thermostat before, but I don't see a thermostat in there. I also see some goop. This kind of tells me that, well, I believe someone must have been in here at one point. It's weird. It's weird. Because I was really expecting to see like the old thermostat. And maybe that's some like RTV or, yeah, the gasket maker, I believe. That crusty bit. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But here is the new, well, here is just the thermostat, the new thermostat. And, well, that's the thermostat right there. I believe it plops right in there. Just weird that's not there. I can't really think of like why. Because I'm not sure if like running it without thermostat, well, I feel like, you know, if there is no thermostat, it's like stuck open. So like it would take a while to like heat up. And, you know, I have not been able to get it up to temp since I installed the shroud. And I know typically whenever it can't get up to temp, the thermostat is stuck open. And I mean, with no thermostat, you know, it's open, I guess. I don't really know. I think I don't really know what the benefits is. You know, it kind of makes me worried, like what if this person was having cooling issues or something and they said, you know what, no thermostat, it'll buy me some time. I don't know, no idea. But I'm gonna install this now, I guess, and clean that up. Yeah. So I have installed the thermostat and the new hose. The thermostat was leaking because I wasn't tightened properly. And I have tried to bleed this a little bit. However, I think I'm having a little bit of an issue. I think there's still a little more coolant in the system. But I am going to shift my attention to actually trying to fix the oil leak first. Because the oil is super thin right now. I think the oil temps might be running a little hot. So I'm gonna try fixing this oil leak, and then I'll readdress the coolant situation. I was not able to actually have the heat in the HVAC actually heat up, which leads me to believe that maybe there is some air in the coolant system. We'll see. But a lot of the coolant did burn. I spilled so much coolant that a lot of it burnt off. So I've started to clean this, and there has been signs now that people or someone has been here before. There is some slight marring on this bolt right here, this banjo bolt, and my oil leak is coming somewhere from this direction. Like if I lift up this boot, it is so oily, and it's also, if I follow that line, it's also super oily over there. So This line might just be bad. I don't know yet. Honestly, that might be the reason why my oil pressure is reading low, or maybe my sensor's dirty. I'm also gonna clean the sensor soon. But I also need to access that one up top. However, there's this little, not even a zip tie, even like metal barbed wire or something, metal wire right here that is definitely not supposed to be there. I mean, someone's been here before. For a reference, look at that side. You can actually see proper bolts and a mount holding up that side of the oil cooler. Yeah, however, on this side, you know, especially since this side is one that's been causing me the most problems with oil leaks, yeah, there's definitely someone that's been in here before. And my plan now is to potentially, or my plan is to honestly just try and remove this little metal wire piece and see if I can lower this oil cooler down so I can access that top banjo bolt easier. But we'll see. Oh! Alright, I have now replaced this O-ring, or sorry, this crush washer, this crush washer, this crush washer, 2 more up there. Hopefully that stops this leak. I will say, this looks like it's potentially leaking farther up the line, which there's no fix for that. It's literally just replacing the line, which is expensive. So hopefully this is enough. So now I need to add oil, and I think I'm gonna clean up the oil pressure sensor. Hopefully I'll help it on the gauge cluster. Hopefully it'll make it actually read oil pressure. All right, for the oil change this time, I'm gonna be changing it up, and I'm going with Valvoline VR1. This is a conventional oil, I believe, sticking with 20W50. I had Castrol, I believe, last time, but switching up to, I guess, that racing oil. The oil was super thin when I drained it, so I'm trying out this new oil now. Well, I just went on a really quick test drive because it's so late, so I made it super quick. But temperature at the thermostat is reading 170, 172, and past it's reading like 155. There's still no heat. I don't know why there's no heat right now. But I will say, I'd have to say I'm going to California for a few days, so I won't be able to work on it. But when I come back, I am leaving myself pretty happy for when I come back in a few days. So I guess when I come back, I'm gonna try and maybe do a little longer of an actual test drive. I am getting tires next week, so I'm super excited about that. But that's just it for this little part. So see you later. I have picked up this oil pressure test kit. I have a gauge here, and the idea behind this is that my oil pressure gauge is not working. I still have not fully cleaned the contacts. I did put some contact cleaner on that oil pressure sender unit down there, but that didn't do anything. So now I'm going to actually remove that oil pressure sender down there. It's very hard to see, but it's underneath the oil filter. And I'm just gonna verify if it actually has oil pressure. I'm really hoping it has oil pressure, because if it doesn't, well, one of my lines I think is leaking, so maybe it's that, could be that. But if not, it's probably the oil pump, which is literally in the front of the engine, right behind the water pump housing. We'll see. And typically whenever that happens, whenever you replace that or fix it or something, usually just remove the engine. So I'm really hoping that I am indeed actually getting oil pressure and the gauge is broken or something. So I've actually cleaned the connection there and on the sensor itself. You know, I was actually it was really easy to disconnect the connector. So I'm gonna try this, and I'm hoping that maybe the connection is bad. Doubtful. All right, I've connected the cleaned connector now back on, and let's see. Let's start it up and let's see if we actually get oil pressure. It should still, so at idle, it should be around 30 or lower. But then once you get up to 3K RPMs, it should go up to like 60. So let's just see if it reads. It's not reading in the slightest. It's maybe going up to like 5 right now. Let me get it to 3K. Alright. I don't know what's going on. I think I need to actually verify the oil pressure now. So here is the oil pressure sending unit. At first glance, I mean, it looks fine, honestly. Looks fine. But I have went ahead and installed the oil pressure tester or gauge. So now it's time to see if this does have oil pressure or not. I do have the service manual here for what the oil pressure should be at. So at idle, I don't know if that's focusing. At idle, it should be at 14 to 54 PSI. And at 3,000 RPM, it should be at 64 to 78. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna test at 3,000. I mean, obviously I can like rev it, right? I should probably just rev it. So yeah, it's time. I'm nervous, man. Oh well. All right, it's time. I'm scared. I'm super scared, I'm not gonna lie. Oh my God. Thank God. All right, so it's at, okay, I think it's just because it's cold. But that's oil pressure. So it's the next day now. I have ordered a new oil pressure sending unit that I'm just gonna honestly install that instead of installing the old one. And after some initial thought, I believe those oil pressure numbers were actually very healthy for a cold start for an idle. So that's awesome. But I am not going to idle or turn this on and let it get up to temp with the gauge. I'm just going to install the new oil pressure sending unit. However, in the meantime, I am going to try and fill in these wide body holes from the previous owner. I have this Bondo glazing putty that I'm just going to fill the holes. I already primered it so it doesn't rust. So now I'm just gonna go in and fill these holes in the meantime. And then I also have the tires coming in tomorrow. So tomorrow I unfortunately won't be taking this to the tire shop to remove the wheels and the tires. I'm just going to lift this up and then remove the wheels myself and bring it in that way. I finally have all matching wheels. Super excited. So for these, I went with some Toyo all seasons. I wanted Yokohamas. which is the same on the Miata Advan flavors. Obviously this weird size did not have Advan flavors, but I did find a Yokohama tire. I ordered it. Apparently it's discontinued, so I went with these Toyos instead. Super excited to finally have matching wheels, and these are a 185 width tire, and the other one, sorry, the previous tires on them were 165, so completely the wrong size. Super excited for this though. Now I'm just waiting on the oil pressure sender to come in. I ordered it. Apparently I ordered the last one in the world. Hopefully it's actually in stock from Canada, so hopefully that's in. And then once that comes in, I'll remove this oil pressure gauge, which I did go on a bit of a test drive today, and I did see the oil pressure fluctuating based on RPM, so that seems good. But then honestly, after I replace the oil pressure sender, I think it's like the last bit really before I go to a car meet. I want to go to this Miata meet on Friday, which is 3 days away at the time of me filming this. And it's looking good. I do need to install the under tray, which is way over there, before doing so, but looking good. Really hope I can make it. It's about a 25-minute drive one way. First time going on the highway, so that'll be fun. So I've now gotten the new oil pressure sending unit, but apparently after I ordered this, it was no longer, or it was marked as no longer available. There might be some in Japan, not sure. But yeah, here's the new one, you know, identical to this one. So, you know, I'm really hoping that I can see, or once I install this, I can actually get oil pressure on the dash. And if this does not fix it, I will then check connector, or the connection at the gauge, or at the instrument cluster itself, because I did clean off some of the connector, or the connection on this one, and the actual connector from the wire. All right, the new one is now installed. Right down there. And I've connected the sensor back to it. And I only, I did like a snug fitting on it. I heard like, don't do it too tight. So I just did it snug, and then a couple more turns passed, and I think it'll probably be fine. So now it is time, you know, to start this and see if it actually does show up on the instrument cluster. Gotta open the garage first though, so. All right, let's see. Come on, please, please, please. Oh, it's going up, it's going up. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Super happy that that oil pressure gauge is not working. However, it is time to shift our attention to more, let's say, quality of life fixes. And the one thing, do y'all remember when I first started this car? Well, some of you may remember, there was a very loud and annoying beep. Well, I determined that was from this box right here. This is the power steering control module. And, you know, I unplugged it because, you know, it was annoying, and I fixed it. However, y'all may notice that it's super rusty. I have ordered a new, to me, a used one here, and it's in much better condition. So I'm going to remove that now and install this, and then maybe power steering will work now, and then maybe go on a test drive perhaps. But yeah, gonna do that now. So here's the old crusty one. As you can see, it's pretty crusty. New one. However, I noticed when I removed this right here, this looked like it was grounded to this. Not really sure why. I have my suspicions. I have my suspicions, like right here. That looks like the same color of wire as this one. And I know there's an aftermarket cruise control that was installed on this car, and that's what this cable is right here. Oh, maybe it was for this right here. Maybe it was like this. And that's the same color of wire. So that would make sense to me. And this goes all the way out there to an aftermarket cruise control. Let me actually show you. So that wire I just showed y'all comes from right here. This one right here. This is not OEM. This is speed control electric servo. I did some quick research. It looks like it's from maybe some Ford Ranger or something from that period. Not sure, but it's not OEM, and so I would imagine that's the ground for this. It's not plugged in anywhere, so I'm not too concerned about it, truthfully. So I'll probably leave that be. Maybe one day I'll look into it more. I know that's what this is from. I have no idea where this connects to. Somewhere in the throttle. Not entirely sure. But I do know that is what this cable is right here. So, yeah, cool. So now I'm gonna install this. All right, it is now installed. And let's see. So previously the beep would literally come on the second I put like the key in. It's like on. So let's see if it's still there. Okay, it's not there, so that's good. Lost the lights though. Oh. Maybe I need a... Alright, you know, I have no idea if this will actually make power steering work, but let's turn it on and see. Ooh, that's butter. That's moving nice. I think I'm gonna go on a test drive. All right, it's time to go on the first drive with new tires, power steering, oil pressure gauge. Let's go on this drive. Dude, this thing feels silky. Dude, this feels so good. New tires, power steering. Man, this thing feels like it's driving on clouds now with the new tires and the power steering. It's driving super smooth. And honestly, the only thing I need to do now between now and Friday, which is 2 days away, is install the under tray. Even without the under tray, it's holding temps at 180, which I think is maybe slightly low, but I'm okay with that. So yeah, like literally I just need to install the under tray. And then maybe, oh, I don't know if I ever showed this, but I did get a radio. However, it was used and like, I don't know, like power is getting sent to it. I see lights. However, I don't think the antenna is plugged in at the back, and I don't think the cassette tape works. So if I have time, maybe I'll look into just plugging in the antenna in the back. Then maybe I'll have music as well on the way to the car meet. So yeah, really, I'm gonna install that tomorrow, not today, but super stoked about that. Went to O'Reilly's, got some tire shine just because I need some. So yeah. So today's Friday. It is now the day of the car meet. And yesterday I went on a test run with the rx7. I went on some errands. I took the rx7 and started off good. Made it to the first stop. However, immediately after that, it went abysmal. It just kept randomly shutting off while even driving. And like, there wasn't even any warning at all. Like, it would just, like, it wouldn't even bog down. It would literally just in gear or first gear only so far as I know. It would just shut off, or even at idle, like it literally would be revving just fine and then just no sign. So weird. Don't know what's going on there. So I did some research, maybe said check your grounds. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be checking my grounds underneath the steering column / maybe something ignition related. And maybe that's it. Really want to go to the car meet, so I'm gonna try and finally check the grounds. I know it's super rusty, so I'm gonna be doing that today. It's super rusty under here, and I would not be surprised honestly if a ground is bad. I do know that ground wire from that power steering module, that was a ground. However, I'm like 99% sure it's coming from that thing that's not even plugged in, the aftermarket cruise control. But I'm gonna start by checking the grounds here, and maybe I'll see something. We'll see. But then I'm gonna go on a test drive after that. So I cleaned what I think was a ground. I cleaned one ground. So time to start it. Making a quick trip to the grocery store, 5 minutes away. Let's see. As of right now, the rx7 is not being temperamental, so we're heading to the meet. So about a 25-minute drive. Wish me luck. I've got about 6 minutes left, but this is my first time in 5th gear. Woo! I've made it to the meet. Bunch of Miatas here. Sheesh, turbo. So the drive was going so well until literally the last 3 minutes of the drive. I saw an add coolant light pop up. It immediately went away. However, I pulled over because you don't mess around with low coolant with the rotary, and literally the coolant tank is empty, bone dry. And I literally, right before the drive back, I checked and it was at the same level it was before I left. I am not sure what happened. I did verify temps and it didn't overheat. Like, yeah, it didn't overheat. I'm just trying to let this cool down a little bit. You know, I brought coolant because, you know, I figured something like this might happen. So I'm kind of just waiting in this parking lot for like 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. It's scary, I'm not gonna lie, because, you know, coolant seals and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait here, let it cool down, add coolant, and probably drive back. And I see the leak. It's leaking from the heater core. Oof. That sucks. That really sucks. So I made it back. It's midnight. And yeah, definitely leak from heater core. At that parking lot, I just quickly filled it up. I let it cool down. I waited like 30 minutes to let it cool down, and then I added coolant. I bled it as much as I could, and then I made it back, and I think it's fine. But definitely gonna need to tackle that, but won't be able to for a little bit, honestly. So yeah. So yeah, it's the next day. The RX7 has indeed made it back, obviously. However, that's gonna be it for this video. We got a lot accomplished this video. So much so that honestly I didn't really even update the to-do list. I said I was gonna do the brakes this video. That was a lie. However, next video I'm going to investigate the heater core leak itself, and then really gonna need to do brakes, and then also need to replace all the belts. So I'll add that. So yeah, in the next video, going to address the heater core leak. That's one of the big reasons why I have not installed the dash yet. You know, just in case I needed to address the climate control system. But in the next video, I will address the heater core leak, replace the belts, and replace the brakes. That's like top priority. Then I'll look into checking the TPS, throttle position sensor, or the idle screw stuff. So I'll be doing that in the next video. So if you want to see that, you know, feel free to subscribe, and thanks for watching, everyone, and have a nice rest of your day.